Hello, everybody. Mr. Jacobs here on day 2 of the hurricane tracking lessons. I want to first start by saying thank you for your patience with all the technology. I know we had a lot of trouble, a lot of people getting on the first video I made yesterday, but it should be up now. It should be in the front lobby, also in your classrooms. It should just be a link. Right now, all you're doing is watching me, but I really do appreciate you checking in and leaving comments or just watching. I can see when you do that, and also being patient with me and everybody as we try to go through this NTI, and I try to get a little better with computers myself. But if you watched yesterday, you know that we have a hurricane named Laura, and we are learning a little bit about hurricanes and what we're tracking this hurricane, which I think it's fun. I don't know, maybe I'm a nerd, but I've always liked to track hurricanes. So this is yesterday's picture on my chalkboard in my basement for you. And yesterday at about 10 a.m., the storm was approximately 350 miles southwest of New Orleans. Okay, still spinning in the ocean. And I talked about predicting how scientists can predict how the winds will steer the storms and where it may end up. And the best prediction, the one that I liked anyway, it had it going right to the border of Texas and Louisiana, right there where I drew my arrow. Okay, so this is now Thursday. This is August 27th, and it's about 11 o'clock in the morning here Eastern time. Tried to get this done a little earlier, but it's been crazy with all this technology and stuff. So we learned that storms, hurricanes move. Okay, they're guided by what they call steering winds. You know, they don't move themselves. They don't have feet. We talked about that, but they are blown by the weather in the area they're in. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and erase this. Okay, last night or yesterday, 115-mile-an-hour winds with the storm, and it was moving at 15 miles an hour to the northwest. Okay, the storm has moved, so I'm going to erase this right now. Okay, she's not there now. And my arrow. Okay, so landfall was made last night. Landfall is when a hurricane reaches land. That's why they call it landfall. Okay, and the predictions are pretty close. Okay, right about here, I would say. And I have a thing here I'd like to share with you. This is called an atlas. Okay. This is an atlas. And look, it's a 2020 version. Okay, my wife makes fun of me because I bought a 2020 atlas when you could just pull it up on the phone. But I like having this book here because I can quickly look. What an atlas is, it shows you a map. Okay, map of every state and territory. All the roads, the state, federal roads, the roads that can get you from town to town. It shows you all the landmarks like mountains, state parks, bodies of water. Okay, and I just always like to have an updated one with me. And I've got my Louisiana page here, and I just put an arrow. I don't know, this might be hard to see for some of you, but you see that black arrow right there? That's exactly where landfall was made. Now, if I move it over this way, what you're seeing there is already Texas. Okay, so it was close. Predictions were really close. You may not be able to see all that, so I'm going to put it on my chalkboard. This is going to be a little dated because the storm moves, but it did come ashore. Approximately right here. I always put my arrows to show you it's spinning. Okay, so it came to shore here as a category 2, which is 5 is the highest, 1 is the lowest, so 2. And this is pretty good news, really, because not as strong as we thought it might be, which is great. So right now, at this filming, I'm going to just leave it right here. Storm is moving north. Okay, so it's going to go right up through Louisiana, right up through here. I know some of you may not be comfortable with maps, but this is the United States Gulf Coast here, okay? And as that storm moves north through Louisiana, okay, it's gonna make some more moves. More about that in a second. Now, so good to hear from so many students that have family and friends down there in this area. And I heard from some people that said they're safe, and that's great news. So it's great. I do know somebody down there, and I talked to some people down there, and I talked to a teacher down there, and it seems to be this one was not as much rain, but a windy one. Okay, as it came in. Now, when hurricanes go over land, they weaken. Okay, they lose their strength because their strength lies in the water over the ocean, the warm water. So the farther they go north, the winds will die down. The rains will start to die down in most cases a little bit. So this one, it looks like it's going to be for today a Louisiana thing because most of the activity is in Louisiana. So Mississippi, Texas, most of those areas were spared. I'm hearing a place called Lake Charles, Louisiana, was kind of hard hit with a lot of wind damage. Okay. Now, before we move on, I've got a new definition today. Okay. One of the biggest things that scientists, meteorologists, those are people who predict the weather, they're scientists too, but that they worry about with a hurricane is a thing called a storm surge. Okay. Now, a storm surge, let me flip my board. Now, I hope you can see this, but a storm surge is a rising of the sea. Okay. And in the case of a hurricane, it's caused by the winds. Okay. All these winds are pushing the water along with the storm. So it's really not a wave. It's more of like a rising water. Okay. Pushed along. So when they come to land, a storm surge can extend out many, many, many miles. Okay. And I'm reading reports of 30 miles from the coast that this water is rising. Okay. Now this is the ocean just coming in places it normally doesn't. Now, as a storm passes through, that water will go back into the ocean. It will recede. Okay, but that can cause, some damage, property damage, trouble. And, if there's low areas and areas like that, when the water goes by, those places will be flooded for a little while. So storm surge is a big one. And Hurricane Laura had a rather large storm surge. Okay, she's now into Louisiana and weakening. There will be rain. There will be winds. They are under 100 miles an hour now. Okay, and she's going to continue her path on. So I'm going to flip the board back. And I'm going to make one more drawing before we go. Prediction now is northerly movement. Okay, and then a slight curve begins, a curve to the east. Now, if you look at Alabama and Mississippi, right above them, does anybody know what state is above that? Any of you been there, I'm sure. Above them is, and this is a squiggly line, because that's a river, the border, it's a Mississippi River. But this big old state over here goes all the way across. Okay, does anybody know that one? It's Tennessee. Okay, So I put Tennessee up there. I'll just use the abbreviation. Put that up there because right above Tennessee is what? Fifth graders? Yes. Right, Kentucky. Okay, so that's showing you getting kind of close, right? So the prediction is now that Laura will go north past Tennessee and then make a turn. Okay, so next time you check in with me, this map will be different and it'll be getting a little closer to home. Okay, nothing to worry about if you're afraid of storms. If you don't like the weather, this is not going to be a danger thing for Kentucky. But we may get a little bit of rain, and that's going to be coming on down the line. And I will keep track of this. And when we check in again tomorrow, we'll see what it looks like. But I'm still thinking maybe Friday night, Saturday morning, that we can get some hurricane rain. I don't know how much rain, but I think there should be some rain. We'll see. That's what we do as scientists. We make predictions, okay? And then either we do a test or an experiment, or we wait and see how it unfolds. So I really appreciate everyone checking in today. And tomorrow we will see how everything is going. Feel free to comment, or you can even post turn in. Just right now, what you're doing is just watching this little unit, and then we'll move on as the days go on. But thank you for being here, and I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.